How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Seth.
Congrats on your movie, Frankie Freako. I am
Thank
so
you.
excited for it. First question I have for you here. The Void, Psycho Gorman were both kind of like Kickstarter campaigns. As a filmmaker, do you think this is kind of like a better way to go about filmmaking versus going the studio route?
I've always had an aversion to crowdfunding. I feel like it's like I'm like putting a hand out and I'm begging for change from people. I just can't help it. I like to do everything myself. I'm very self-sufficient, so I have anxiety about crowdfunding, but I've come to accept that it's just like a natural part of the especially indie genre film community. And I mean, it's proven to me that I have like a loyal fan base that is willing to contribute and wants to see more of my movies. So while it does give me anxiety, I do really appreciate the people who contribute and support my movies, because it definitely wouldn't get made any other way.
Definitely. And obviously, like, with obviously, Psycho Gorman and now this, you have like this love for these like fun creatures. Where do you kind of get this inspiration from, and is that kind of like the route you want to continue going down?
I've always loved like monsters and robots and aliens and whatever. Like that's just I grew up on that stuff. Like I was a movie lover as a kid. I used to always watch old like Godzilla movies and
the best.
Obviously Power Rangers and things like that. There's definitely like an overarching Japanese influence on everything. Like Japanese tokusatsu media is the best to me, like Kamen Rider and that kind of stuff. So it's just always been with me. It's just in my DNA. I don't know anything else. Even when I try to imagine doing like a straight character drama, I inevitably dip into imagining it with like weird monsters.
Yeah.
Having those conversations. Like even watching 12 Angry Men the other day, I was like, what if this was 12 Angry Monsters?
That's awesome.
That's a movie I want to watch. So yeah, I can't help it. It's just who I am. I love making creatures. I love putting them on screen. And I love telling them what to do. It's just super fun.
Godzilla. I wore a sweet Godzilla shirt yesterday, which I wish I was interviewing you yesterday because you would have loved it. Do you have a favorite Godzilla film?
I love Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yes.
That one is so wacky and weird. Godzilla versus Hedorah has become a favorite of mine recently. Me and my girlfriend really love that one because it's super funky and
so
weird.
Funky.
But also, I'm a big fan of Godzilla versus Biollante.
Yeah.
That era of Godzilla, the look of those movies is so cool to me. I remember watching those as a kid and being kind of scared of the like late 80s, early 90s era of Godzilla because they played it a little straighter and like a little more effort went into like making it convincing, I felt like too. And it just, I don't know, just the cinematic quality of those movies really resonates with me.
All those films were so great. I grew up on them, and -1 just absolutely blew me away.
Oh man, yeah, we saw that in Japan last year. We went on my first trip to Japan, and we made a point of checking it out at the theater.
Yeah,
and that was like one of the best memories I think I'll ever have is sitting in a theater in Tokyo watching the new Godzilla movie. Yeah, that movie rocks. It's so good.
It's so freaking good. How did you come about with the characters for Frankie Freako, the little dudes?
I mean, my design methodology is the same on every movie. I imagine, like, if I'm a kid and this is a toy on display at, like, Toys R Us or something, what would draw my eye to it? What would make me want to purchase it? I believe the George Lucas term is, like, being very, like, toyetic with your designs. And so, I always think, like, in bold colors and, like, easy signifiers of character with each of my little freaks. So, making one guy like kind of a cyborg mechanic and one of them's a cowboy. It's like very simple, obvious things because also I'm from the like era of like toys like in the 90s where, there would be like Aqua something Batman or like every figure had like a gimmick. And so that also applies to all my creature designs. There's always like some gimmick to them that makes them recognizable, and the intention is to make them pop off the shelf if they were ever to be an action figure.
That's awesome. I definitely got some like Gremlins and like Cabbage Pail Kids and all that, and I love that, so I'm excited for
Sweet.
Next question I have for you, because I see you're wearing the Death Stalker hat. I saw you're tackling that project next.
Yes.
So what intrigued you to go that route?
I mean, my goal as a filmmaker is to tackle every weird corner of genre cinema, every subgenre. I mean, Frankie Freako obviously tackles like the little monster, the little shithead genre. I feel like Psycho Gorman is like I'm dipping into the tokusatsu monster movie stuff. But then Deathstalker, like kind of horror fantasy is very interesting to me in a genre I haven't really touched yet, aside from my ABCs of Death segment. Champions of Zorb, or W's for Wish, as it's called in the movie. It's just a genre that I really want to play around in, like doing like a budget Lord of the Rings up in Canada is such an insane idea. I couldn't say no to it. So it was a lot of fun.
Last quick question for you: is there one thing you want people to know about this movie going into it? Something that you really want them to take from it?
It's wacky. It's crazy. Where it starts is not where it ends up. It is a wild ride, and it's fun for the whole family, I think, personally. So yeah.
Well,
check it out.
Congrats on Frankie Freako again, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.